Well, hello there. What I've got here is an electric eraser. Kind of clean up some of the scribbling I did there. All right. So let's have a look at what happened here. So here is the left case interface right here. Let's see if you can see that good. I think you can. Right there. So what I'm going to do is match the right case to this left case. And it's deceptively easy. But the measurements have to be carefully made or you're going to goof it up. So what I determined is there's just a couple of thousandths or so in these locations of the main locations here. And if you go back to the very first where I had these cases together, there was an offset on the cylinder surfaces here. And the offset is cantilevered. These dowel pin locations here and here are not very far off. But the one here at the transmission is even more, and it's kind of a cantilever situation there. So I wanted to find the dowel pin that's the most out, and it's this one right here. I did some easy math right here and came up with the offset is 18 thousandths. Close to 19 thousandths on this one. It gets less here, and it's not very much here. This pretty much lined up. Let's see, get over here on the main bearing. Pretty much lined up okay on the crankshaft main bearing. And I noticed when I was taking this thing apart, it was off pretty bad. On the transmission, it was like crowded, and you could see the offset on the cylinder surfaces. So what I determined is the offset is 18 thousandths of an inch right there. I times that by 2, and I come up with 37 thousandths. The dowel pins are 0.250, 251, and so you add 37 thousandths to that, and I got 0.288. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these left case locations right here, and I'm going to transfer them over here to the right case, and to take care of the offset, I'm going to use a double-ended dowel pin. It'll be 250 going into the left case, and it'll be 0.288. 0.288. It has to be oversized. So I'm using the same locations as the left case. I don't want to do any more to the left case. And I'm going to put an oversized end in here. And that is how much it has to be. Double that 18 thousandths offset added to a 1/4 inch dowel pin. So what I'm going to do to get that size, I'm going to take a 3/16 end mill, which is 0.3125, and I'm going to circle grind the flutes. And I'll show you how to do that on the cutter grinder. And that makes it so the flutes of the end mill do not cut. Only the end of the end mill will cut. I will come into the right crankcase and shoot that in there, in that dowel pin location, shoot that oversized end mill for the dowel pin in there and there. And that'll bring the two cases better in register. It's that easy, okay? I just wondered if anyone could really guess what I was doing. So with this method of locating, I could add more dowel pins. And I've done that on dirt bike stuff. I stayed off dirt bikes. A guy I know has a business here, just got injured on one. He's over 50 years old and he's got pins in his legs now. But so, instead of dowel pins, some engines will have, this is a bolt location here and here. Some engines use a sleeve, a hollow sleeve at the bolt locations in place of small dowel pins. And I've taken on jobs from dirt bikers years and years ago that were doing that arena cross stuff. And when they take those jumps, and if they don't back off the throttle just right, it puts extreme stress on these things. And I've added dowel pin or sleeve locations at these bolt holes on that type of engine. I never had to do it on a Harley Davidson engine. But I just thought I'd point that out for you dirt bikers and stuff that like to mess with that stuff. If you want to add dowel pins or something like that. But I really haven't run into on dirt bikes mismatched cases and stuff, likely because fewer of them get stolen. I want to point out, back in the 80s, the Harley Davidson Sportster was the most likely to be stolen motorcycle in America. I don't know what it is now, but I'll tell you something. As far as this Harley Davidson thing goes, the best advice I got at the factory, and especially if you go out on your own, but it can ruin your dealership, no used parts. No buying or selling used parts. Any kind of motorcycle I ever bought had a title. I didn't deal in used parts, and I'm a machinist and a millwright. So it was a waste of my time to sell used parts. And then every time a motorcycle gets stolen, guess who's in your shop? The cops looking for it or the owner. I've had several owners come into my shop and says, hey, my bike got stolen and they want to come in and try to sell you used parts. I go, no, they don't try to sell me used parts because everybody knows I won't buy them. And it was said to me at the Harley Davidson factory, and you should listen to me, run an honest shop, no used parts. That saved me many times, many times. I've had all kinds of funny crap go on in the legal deal like that. A guy abandoned a motorcycle for years at my shop. And when he got the mess back, I didn't do anything to it. He said I took it apart. It was claimed as a piece of crap shovel head, not worth nothing. And all of a sudden it turned into some $30,000 custom motorcycle. And he had a piece of crap attorney from over in Tri-Cities that works with the bike gangs and stuff, come after me and sued me for that. Claimed that I sold the parts to a third party. And his whole thing got blown out of the water because I never sold used parts, not never, not ever. That's how I survived in this thing. And they got this, when you get with the bike gangs, the bike clubs, there's another outfit involved too, and that's the cop gang. And here in Washington, they got this biker gang task force. And they're worse than the clubs, absolutely worse. And it's like they said at the factory, you don't want the cops in your shop, you don't want the clubs in your shop, you just don't want any part of that. And the only way to prevent that is no used parts. As a matter of fact, in the state of Washington, they passed a law that it's a felony to sell used parts without a salvage license. And I was always, you just got to keep a step ahead of it, especially in a state like this. And I did the same thing with the EPA. I had absolutely everything covered as far as solvents, old gasoline. They were looking for mercury that was used in old carburetor tuners for old four-cylinder Hondas and stuff like that. But Harley has one carburetor, and you don't use those mercury-filled balancers. I never used one anyway. Never worked on that stuff. So they're always looking for trouble, to keep that in mind, especially in Washington. I don't know anybody around here that's doing this anymore. And it's a tough business. And after the fad, 2006, of course, it really took a dump in 2008, but I noticed in 2006, people that I was doing very expensive engines for all of a sudden backed off, go, hey, things aren't looking real good, and, we got to back off on this stuff. I go, yeah, things aren't looking good at all. So I went right back into hydraulics and other things. So that's one thing about having the skills with the machines. You can be more versatile, and that's important. So I've been kind of going slow on this, but I also have some work I took in, and I've gotten that done, so I'm back on this. And I've learned the hard way. Don't let anybody know what you're doing. I'm taking in work, you'll never see it. You'll see things like this. So we're going to get back out into the shop, and I'm going to make that where is it? Right in here it is. I'm going to take a 3/16 end mill, circle grind it to 0.288. The right case is still in the mill, or the jig borer, and right case, and I'm going to take these locations off the left. If I wanted to do it from the right, I'd take the locations from the right, those 3 dowel pins, and transfer them over here, and calculate the offset, times it by 2, and that's the diameter of your new dowel pin. How about that? This is my old-time drafting table. It's also my office. Okay, see you out in the shop.